Hey Destiny Channel subscribers, this is Bree here. I just wanted to come and touch base with you. It's been a couple weeks since I've posted, and my most recent post was actually done on Facebook Live, so you can't see it on YouTube unfortunately. But I just wanted to touch base and talk to you and continue the conversation that I started on Facebook about abiding in God. And I really like that subject or that word because it means going very, very deep and standing very, very rooted in the Word of God, no matter the circumstances that you're facing. So the word abide actually is stemmed from the word, or the definition of it is remain or to stay in place. And that sounds like a good thing. You know, you read the word in John 15 and it talks about abide in me and I will abide in you, or draw nigh unto me and I will draw nigh unto you. And it sounds really good, but that definition actually has a deeper rooted meaning stay deeply rooted in me no matter your circumstances. And so it's not just getting up, reading, praying, praising God, and doing those things like on your daily devotional. It's doing them mostly when you don't feel like it, when you don't think God deserves your praise, which sometimes is an absurd thought, but we go there sometimes. And when your circumstances are just not what you think they should be. So for example, I went through a recent situation in my family where now my family's grieving due to the loss of my mother. But I know that God, we are all deeply rooted in God because we are all continuing to abide in Him. But I didn't get on here to share that with you. I came on here to encourage you, even in the midst of what we're going through right now, but to encourage you to stay in God no matter what, okay? This week I had a conversation with a client who was suicidal, and he was complaining specifically about God, and he was blaming God and for everything. He had been through a treatment program for it was very long term, and he gets out and he relapses, and it's all God's fault. And which I totally understood where he was coming from in the sense of wanting to be the victim in this situation, because we all play a really good victim role. Thanks Adam and Eve, y'all did that. But he wanted to play the victim role, and I ministered to him through this coaching session, but most importantly, I was trying to get him to understand, one, his value, because he was actually suicidal at the time. So I wanted him to understand his value, but two, encourage him to continue to abide, that his walk with God, just because it got a little rocky or because he slipped up and messed up, doesn't disqualify God from being God. And nor does it disqualify him from being a child of God. So I want to encourage you today as well to know that when you choose to abide in God, no matter what, like He will show up on your behalf. Okay, and so this gentleman is now going back into treatment, and he's going to be doing well. I trust that process, but it was a little scary for a second, thinking that he would really end it all because he messed up. But you know what? Sometimes we get there as humans. We go through our emotional process and we take a temporary circumstance, but then we try to make a lifetime decision based on that circumstance. So I just want to encourage you today to not do that, is to abide and remain in God and wait on the Lord. Just because you don't see your fruit manifesting yet, or you don't see the promises of God in your life yet, doesn't mean that they're not going to happen. They're just not on your timetable. And just because you may have messed up in an area doesn't mean that God's grace is not sufficient. As a matter of fact, that's exactly when it's sufficient, is when you mess up. His power is made perfect in your weakness, not in your strength. So I just want to again remind you, abide in the Lord. And that means to stay when the winds are blowing hard, to stay in His word, to stay trusting in Him, to stay in love with Him no matter the circumstances. So with that, I just want to encourage you to stay positive, stay focused, stay peaceful, and keep your joy. Don't let the enemy take your joy, because even in the midst of grief, you can have joy. The word even says you will grieve, but there will be joy on the back end. Or sorrow may last for a night, but joy comes in the morning. And I just want to share with you too that the Lord shared with me this week that sometimes morning comes before the night is over. Doesn't make sense scientifically, but spiritually that does make sense. Is that you might be going through a night season right now, but morning will come before you expect it to come. So I want to encourage you with that again, and motivate you to success with whatever that may mean for you legally. And I hope you continue to abide, and I hope this message encourage you to do so. So with that, Destiny subscribers, I'll talk to you later. Peace. Keep you in my prayers.